get to drown with them. You've seen them do that in the old movie. Sometimes they didn't get up. That was the problem with that.
They didn't show that.
No. Now, at the end of the movie, they said no animals were hurt in the movie. Because they killed a lot of them in the old movie. Killed a lot of people, too. All right, 721. 721. We are going to be into an extremely exciting area in the book of Genesis, because we're going to go into the Table of Nations. The Table of Nations. This is where all of the population of the world comes from today. And we're going that way quickly. And when we get into the 10th chapter, that was one of the things I wanted to teach, is the foundation of all the world today. Where did the people come from? Who are they? Okay? So we're going to do that. Vayikva. Kol. Anybody say the next one? Basar. Thank you. Harames. El-Al. Haaretz. Vav. Yuva-Ba-Bihimah. Yuva-Chaya. Yuviko. Ha-Sheretz. Ha-Shoretz. All. Haaretz. Mikol. Ha-Adam. Now, isn't that neat? Now you're reading Hebrew. All right? Vayikva. And expired and breathed out, took his last breath, third person masculine singular cow, while consecutive and perfect. All flesh, it expired. All flesh, that creeps. All right, that creeps. Harames, that creeps. Upon all haaretz, upon the earth, Beor, fowl. You know, a bird can fly around for quite a while without drowning, but sooner or later it's got to come to land if there's nothing to land on, isn't there? I'm sure there were a few birds that made it through, landed on trees, stumps, and everything else out there, but pretty soon, what would happen? They would run out of food, and so they would starve. All right, maybe if they made it through all the floods and everything else, they probably would have starved. Okay? All right, and cattle. Yuva-Bihimah, and the cattle. All right? The cows, the water horses, the hippos, all of that. Yuva-Chaya, and beasts, living things. Bikol, and all. Ha-Sharetz, all swarmers, everything swarming. That swarms, all right? Ha-Sharetz, that swarms upon the earth. And all Bikol, and all mankind, human beings. So everybody has breathed out their last. They've all left. Okay? Now we get down to 722. Kol, Asher, Nishmat, Ruach, Chayim, Bi'apar, Bi'apar, that is. Mikol, Asher, Bicharabah, Metu. All right, now look at this. All which or whose, the breath, all right, the breath, Nishmat, the breath of the Spirit, all right, the breath of the Spirit, everything that breathes, life, Chayim, Bi'apav, in its nostrils, Mikol, all, or from all, that's what it literally says there, from all, Asher, which, or who, Bi-cha-ra-va, all on dry land, Metu, they died. Metu, they died. Third person, cow, plural, cow, perfect. they had died. It's completed. Vayimach, 7:23. Vayimach. Et, O, Haikum, Asher, El Panay, Ha'adam, Mi Adam, Ad Bihimah, Ad Rames, Vid, Orf, Hashemayim, Vaim, Machu, Men, Haaretz, Va Yishaer, Hak, Noah, Asher, Yitov, Vatavah. All right, we're kind of clipping along here real good. And wiped off every existing thing. Kol Hakum, every existing thing, every substance, which upon the faces, look at that, the surface, that means faces. The surface of your face, you know, you can tell by the surface of your face whether you're happy or sad or in pain or something, okay? You can tell by the surface of your face, right? And when Jacob was over there dealing with old Laban, he said that his faces changed. The expression of his faces, El Panay, of his faces changed. His expressions changed toward him as not before, so he took off his expressions, all right? All right, the faces of the ground from man, Od, unto cattle, Behemah, unto Ramas, creepers, Beod, and unto fowl. The heavens, the fowl of the heavens. All right, that means that live in the breathing space. Those that flying around in the sky. You can look outside almost all the time and see birds in the air, can't you? They're living in the breathing space. They can stay up there for quite a while too, but pretty soon they have to come down. All right? And they were wiped off in a way, or rubbed out from men, Haaretz, from the earth, by Yishar, that is, and was left only what? Noah. And those who with him in the ark. Ba-tivah, in the ark, Ba-tivah, in the ark. That beta, or bait on the front of it there, I get my Hebrew and Greek mixed up sometimes. That B on the front of it, that means in the ark. Okay? 7:24. Vayikbaru Hamayim all Haaretz. Shalmishim Yumiat Yom. All right. And grew mightily, third person masculine plural, and they grew mightily the waters, Hamayim, upon the face of the earth, or the earth, okay, but we know it's the face of the earth. Shamashim 50, Yumiat, and 100 days. Yom. 150 days. 150 days.
So how many months was that?
150 days.
5
Yeah,
months?
5 months. All right, just divided by 30. But, you know, back then they were lunar months.
Yeah.
So you had lunar months or shorter, so you got more months. But anyway, it's 150 days. It tells you 150 days. However months or weeks that was. Well, weeks is 7 days. All right. By Yizkov, that is. Elohim. Et. Noah. Viet,
Viet,
Kol,
Kol,
Hachaya,
Hachaya,
Viet,
Viet,
Kol,
Kol,
Ha, Bi, Hima,
Ha, Bihama,
Asher,
Asher,
Ito,
Tol,
Bat Tiba,
Batba,
Vaim.
Vaim,
Vayover. All right. Vayover, Elohim,
Elohim,
Ruah,
Ruah,
Al,
Al,
Haaretz,
Haaretz,
Vayashakku.
Vayashaku.
That little old word is real long, isn't it?
Jim, say earth again for me.
Haaretz.
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 Haaretz is the earth. Haaretz.
Haaretz.
Haaretz. Then Hamayim. All right. Vayizkar, and he remembered, third person masculine, cal, well, consecutive, perfect, and he kept on remembering God et Noah. Et is the sign of what? Page 84. All right. Now, page 84 is the sign of direct object. What is the Greek equivalent to that? Et. All right. The Greek equivalent is this one. So you learned in a little bit of Greek too. Ace. Page 119, page 84 in the lesson. All right.
So it's something about an object being acted upon?
It means there's going to be action toward that thing. Whatever's there, there's going to be action toward it. All right. Et Noah. God remembered his action was, his memory was going to Noah in the direction. Now, I like the Greek preposition because Greek is a little bit bigger language than Hebrew, a little more profound, a little more definite. But the Greek preposition, when you see that, the grammatical explanation of ace is extension or limitation of thought or verbal action. And right here it works because God's thought, we're going toward Him. Extension and limitation of thought, God's remembering, okay, or verbal action. So right here it says, and remembered Elohim et Noah. Do you see the idea of the action there? Okay. Viet, and the V there, and you don't translate et, okay? That's the sign of direct object. And all, ha, chaya, and the beast, okay? Now you remember the beast. And Viet, Kol, all, ha, Vihima, and all the cattle, which, Asher, Yitov, all right, with him, Ba-Tibah, in the ark, or in the boat, or in the box, whatever you want to call that thing. It didn't have a rudder, it didn't have a sail. God was doing the sailing, and God was doing the steering. Okay? By Yah-Avar, and he calls to pass over God a wind. Now, God's going to cause this wind to pass over. All right? Now, here, this is pretty good. Now let's go to Genesis 1 and 2. Let's go back to Genesis 1 and 2 now. All right? This is very important. Right here now, God is causing a wind to pass over the earth. Okay? A wind, a ruah. Wind means breath. Okay? What's the word in Greek for that? What's the Hebrew is ruah, the Greek is pneuma. We get pneumatics, okay? All right? Genesis 1 and 2, way back over there in the second verse of Genesis. All right? Thy haaretz, vayita, tohu bohu, thy choshek, al panei tamol. And it says, the ruah Elohim, Berin Chafet, Al Panei Hamayim. This verse here is a little bit, you got it in your Bible. And the earth. All right, and the earth, be haaretz, and the earth Hayata, Haya, all right. She became, third person singular, feminine, Cal, preterite, perfect. The earth she became. She changed from something to something else. The earth she became tohu, bohu, desolation, confusion, emptiness, and waste, useless. Choshek, darkness, el panei tohom, darkness upon the faces of the deep. And then we have here Vihruah, and spirit Elohim. This is different now. Now the Jews, you don't have the JPS Bible, do you? You've got the other one. The JPS Bible said, and a wind from God was caused to go over the earth of the surface of the deep. But here what we have is the Spirit God intensely brooding, mourning, suffering. Mary Chesed. Mary Chesed. Brooding, suffering over all the faces of the waters. So we have God mourning over His creation that has been gone amiss. Okay? That's what we have. But we have here Spirit God, not a wind from God. This is Spirit God. Spirit God. What is that? Who is Spirit God?
Holy Spirit.
The Holy Spirit. All right. Now let's go over here to 7 and or 8 and 1. That is 8 and 1. Now over here we have something a little bit different. All right. Now it could have been Spirit God, but I believe here the syntax calls for a wind. Wind. Okay? Wind. Now let's look and see it. And the term is a little bit and God's Spirit, or God's breath, or wind, upon the earth and sank the water. God blew upon the earth. Now, God blows the wind, or His breath is over the face of the earth, and His breath dries out the waters. Okay? Here in Genesis 1 and 2, we have Spirit God. Now we have a wind, or the breath of God, drying out the waters on the faces of the earth. All right? Do you see the difference in that? You got the difference. There is a difference. Okay? Now the Jewish Publication Society is going to say it's a wind from God going out in Genesis 1 and 2, but that's not it. His Spirit God went out there and He mourned over the faces of the deep. It says brooded, I think in King James, something like that, but it actually means mourned over the faces of the deep.
So that's quite different than
That's a lot different.
Than a wind.
Yeah. But that was interpretation. Their interpretation of Genesis 1 and 1 also is that God began to create the heavens and the earth, but that's not what it says. God finished creating the heavens and the earth, and then the earth, she became formless and void. There's a whole lot of difference there now. The earth changed from one state of perfection into a state of tohu vabohu, chaos and uselessness. Okay? 8 and verse 2. Vayish chacharu ba yinot tihum. Behold. All right. Ba'a rubahat. All right. Hashemayim. Vayik. Kele. Ha-geshem. Men. Hashemayim. And they were closed. Ma, the fountains, the springs of the Tahom. That's the deep. Here we have the waters are drying up. Now the fountains of the deep, we remember we had, here's the earth. Here is the earth. And around the earth, before Noah's time, there was an ocean in the sky. Okay? The ocean in the sky. And this is a breathing space where the birds flew and everything. Okay? And it had not rained because it was like a greenhouse. Didn't need to rain. All right? There was mist would go out, and it was a dew. The dew would water the ground. Boy, man had it good back then. You didn't have to have irrigation ditches or anything. All right? And the earth was water, and it was gay. Aretz, or earth, okay? Dry ground, earth, and water. Now, God takes the floodgates of heaven and this opens up these oceans to run down to the earth, to cover the earth with water. And then down in here, there were springs that went up from the earth and flowed upward. So now it says here, these springs, these fountains, the fountains of the Tahom, all right, La Rubaot, and the curtains, the rivers. This is the rivers. It literally means the curtains, the windows, the curtains, the openings, the overflow gates, the rivers of the heavens. All right, men. All right, from the heavens. All right, from the gushing rain. The gushing rain is stopped, and the floodgates are checked or closed or restrained. All right? 8 and verse 3. So we have all that. There's no more rains. There's no more springs. The springs are controlled. And now the water, God, is His breath or His Spirit or His wind is blowing from Him, and it is drying out the ground.
What is this word, lattice, window? You got another word up there.
Barubahat. Okay, that means
Sluice
the sluice gates, the lattice, the windows, the curtains, the openings, the overflow gates. It's like up here at Isabella, they have an overflow. They have what they call what do you call it?
Auxiliary dam.
Auxiliary dam, or they have an overflow area where if it gets too much water in it, it just runs over. Okay. Well, this was all closed.
That word sluice, though, is interesting. Sluices, you don't hear that.
No. The sluice ways are the rivers. Rivers. All right. Slough. Rivers. All right. If you used to go out to Taft in the old days before they built Isabella Dam, how many of you were here before Isabella Dam? You know? All right. Boy, so I feel good. I don't feel quite so anxious tonight. When you go out there, all that area would be underwater except Cole's Levee. Cole's levees. The levees, if you look out at Taft Highway's high. That's because the water used to be out there. After that dam ever breaks, there's going to be water out there again.
Sluices of water.
Yeah, sluices of water. All right. Everything's going to dry out from under the heavens now. Vayashuvu. Vayashuvu. All right? Can you say that? Vayashuvu.
Vayashuvu.
Hamayim.
Hamayim.
Mi'al.
Mi'al.
Haaretz. Halok.
Halok.
Vaisho.
Vaisho.
Vayah. Through. Hamayim.
Hamayim.
Mik. Tose.
Tose.
Some of these words are pretty hard. And then Cha Mishim.
Chamishim.
Yumiat.
Miyat.
Yom.
Yom.
All right. And retreated, walked away, turned and walked away the waters. From upon the earth, haaretz. Halalak, going, walking. This is what we call cal infinitive absolute, walking. And retreating and turning, returning to wherever they're supposed to be. Where the waters return. When rain comes down, rivers flow, and where does it all go? Back to the oceans. Back to the oceans. Vayak Shiru. Hamayim, and the waters, Miktazeh, from the cutting off, 50 and 100 days. They're cutting off 50 and 100 days. 8 verse 4 now. We're clipping along tonight. 8 verse 4. Va ta nok. Hatibah,
Hatibah,
Va Chodesh,
Ba Chodesh,
Hashavi,
Hashavi,
Be Shiva,
Yeshiva,
Asar,
Asar,
Yom,
Yom,
Yah La Chodesh,
La Chodesh,
Al
Al,
Hare
Haray,
Ararat.
Ararat.
Well, you recognize that word, didn't you?
Mhm.
Ararat. All right, Ararat. And rested, third person feminine singular, and rested the boat. You know, we call boats girls. She this and she that boats. Okay, here this boat's called a girl too. It's feminine. All right, this boat's feminine also. All right. The ark, the boat, in the month 7th, Hashavi, in the 7th, in the Shiva, in the 17th day, Yom, in the month La Chodesh, Al Hare, upon the mountains. By the word, the word Hor in Hebrew is mountain. Mount Hor. It means mountain. Okay? That's what the term for mountain is, all right? Ararat. Upon the mountains of Ararat. It doesn't say Mount Ararat, but the mountains of Ararat. All right? The mountains of Ararat. 8 verse 5. Looks like the last time I taught that when I was in seminary was 12/12 of 1977. That was a long time ago, wasn't it? Boy, ancient. Boy. Bihamayim,
Hamayim,
Hayu,
Hayu,
Halo,
Halo,
Bachasar,
Mashasar,
Ad,
Ad,
Hachadesh,
Hachodesh,
Ha'asiri,
Ha'ashari,
Ba'asiri,
Ba'ashari,
Be-Echad,
Be-Echad,
Lachodesh,
Hachodesh,
Neru,
Neru,
Rashi,
Roshi,
Ha-Ha-Ri.
Ha-Hari,
All right. And they became going and walking around and diminishing. That's what's this? That's the waters that are walking around and diminishing. They're walking their way to where they're supposed to be flowing. Okay, the waters are flowing, walking the way they're supposed to. You go down a creek. I remember times up in the mountains. How many? Have you ever done any coon hunting or mountain lion hunting or bear hunting or anything?
Possum hunting.
Possum hunting a little bit? All right. I used to be a coon hunter and lion hunter and bear hunter and all that kind of stuff. And I would go up in the mountains, and sometimes you get back up there in the mountains. Way back up in there, you can't see up for the trees, okay? And you run across the creek. And you know the creek is going downhill because creeks walk downhill, don't they? According to this Hebrew, creeks walk downhill. Now, I remember being up there above Isabella. Back up there in one area, we were running a cat back up in there, and we were following the dogs out there, and it was so dark. It was in the middle of the night. And it was so dark, and it was snowing, and it was cloudy. The clouds were down to the ground. So I got down there, I was with my friend, and we ran across the creek. And the creek went down to where the car was. We were kind of turned around because you couldn't see up from down anything else. All right, we got what we got. We got our game and everything else. We had that all done. Now we needed to find a way back to the truck. Okay? Well, I knew the water went back to the truck, and it flowed. It walked toward the truck because I had parked right on the creek. We come up to the creek. We could hear the creek running, but you had to get down and look at the creek to see it. That's how dark and how foggy it was. You had to stick your face in it. Not only that, to find out which way it was going, you got to spit in it. That's how.
To see which way it flows.
See which way it flowed. We could not tell which way the creek walked. We've been in some weird things like that. At times, like you get back up in the woods, and and you see all of this. You get back in there and the clouds come in. One time I went up on top of Greenhorn Mountain up there, and we were done deer hunting, my two boys, and this was on Wednesday morning we went up there. And we just hunt for a couple hours, and then we'll come home and go preach that night. We got up in there, and a snowstorm, a blizzard hit. We were way back up in the woods, and the clouds came in heavy, where you couldn't see from me to that table. And this is daytime. It was just run into a tree almost. I told the boys, I said, well, boys, the only thing we need to go is down. Let's go down. There wasn't any creeks to follow to see which they would walk there, so we just started going down. I got down, and we finally got down below the clouds of the snow, and I looked out there, and I said, we're on Alvin Orange Ranch. That's where we were, so we know which way to go, and we knew where the road went, so we went down and followed the road back up to where we were. And then we got out that way. We had some real interesting times back up in there. When you have to get down on your hands and knees and spit in the creek to find out which way it's running, that's pretty dark and pretty dim light.
Did you get that cat?
Huh?
Did you get the cat?
Yes, we got the game. I can't remember what it was, a cat or a coon or whatever it was. It was a long time ago. But I remember having to spit in the creek to see which way the water flowed. So we followed right in it, and we had to walk in that creek because the brush was so thick. There was times that we had to crawl down the creek bed, because if you get away from it, you'd lose it. All right. Now we are in the mountains here, and the waters became walking around back where they're in, diminishing until the month, the 10th, in the first. All right, be chapad in the first La Chodesh of the month became visible the heads of Rashi, the heads of the mountains, the heads, Rosh, the heads of the mountain, Rosh. That's it right there, Rosh. What nation is named after this Hebrew word? Russia. Thank you. Sharpers. Straight edge razor. All right, Russia. All right. 8 and verse 6 now. 8 and verse 6. Vahi. Mik. Ketz. Arba'im, Yom, Vai, Yiftach, Noah, Et, Shalom, Hakivah, Asher, Asaph. All right. And it came to pass, and it became. That's the word became, and became. Okay? Now, in King James, it says, and anybody got King James running around in your back pocket or anything here? Or, well, most of the translations say the wrong thing anyway. Anyhow, go to Genesis, the first chapter. And let's look at this. We got to get this straight. All right, because this is something, I haven't talked about this for a while. Some of you haven't heard my explanation of Hayah, okay? Genesis 1. Find it over here. I had it in my Bible this morning. Genesis, first chapter. All right. Genesis, first chapter. And God saw the light, Genesis 1 and 4. Genesis 1 and 3. And then God said, let light, and let there be light, and there was light. Now that's not correct. And let there become light, and there became light, is what it should say. It's a change from one state to the other. The Hayah, that word, this is where the word Jehovah comes from, is this root. The one who shall become. Okay, or one who shall becomes. All right, number 1 and 4. And God saw that the light was good? No. God saw that the light became good. And God separated the light from the darkness. And God called the day light, and the darkness He called light. And there was, no, not was, there became evening, and there became, it wasn't was now, it became. The evening became and morning became. Do you see the difference between was and became? To change from one state to the other. Was has kind of got the idea that it stayed that way for a while. Then God said, let there be an expanse or breathing space in the midst of the waters, and let it separate the waters from the waters. And God made the expanse and separated the waters which were below, and the expanse of the waters which were above, and it what? It became so. Became so. That's a lot of difference.
It means that it happened immediately.
It changed.
Immediately.
It wasn't that way, but now it did that. It became that way.
It wasn't a process.
Okay, it wasn't a process, it became. God did it right there.
Mhm.
It became. All right? And God called the breathing space, and there became evening, and there became morning a second day. It not was, it became. Days to became. All right, now you got the idea of what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
All right. Now, let's go look at this one. All right. And became. All right. And became. Came to pass, or became third person masculine singular cal, well, consecutive and perfect. All right. From end of 40 days, opened Noah at a window, cha lo, a window of the ark which he had made. All right, he opens the window of the ark after 40 days. Noah opens the window of the ark. All right, after became 40 days. Before 38 days, it wasn't 40 yet, was it? But right when it became 40 days, it became 40 days. You understand the action. But Hebrew is a great action language. Okay? But if you miss this, you're going to miss it all. And you miss the whole idea of that word Hayah, because that's the root of Jehovah.
The one who became. The one who became.
All right, see that? That's he who shall become. All right, he who shall become. John 1 and 1. In beginning, kept on being the Word, the Jehovah. And the Jehovah kept on being an inseparable part of the Godhead, John 1 and 1. This is my translation of the Greek idea and the grammar that's in those verses. I remember the first time I went to talk to Brother Phil, and I told him about this, and he just sat there and looked at me. He said, boy, how much Greek you have? I said, a lot. You know, like that. He said, boy, he said, I can't follow you. You know, like this. And I said, well, I wrote it down for him. I wrote all the grammar down for him like that. He said, I'm going to go look at this because this is really good. In beginning kept on being the Jehovah. That's the word. And Jehovah kept on being an inseparable part of the Godhead because Jehovah kept on being God. And then John 1:14, it says, Kaholos sarx again. And the Word, flesh, He became. Became. Again, He became. Flesh, He became. That's beautiful now. Because that gives you the idea of this little verb. That's a very important little verb in Hebrew. And so when you see it, you get the idea of how it changes. God, the Son, always existed, didn't He? Did He not?
Yes.
But in space and time, He became flesh. He became flesh. He existed. He made man in His image in the garden. God said He formed man as He formed the dust of the ground, and He breathed in him the breathings of lives. All right? And man became a living, nephesh soul. All right? And He made him in His image. So in His pre-incarnate image, God made man. Did God have a pre-incarnate image? Sure He did. How did He make him in His image if He didn't have an image back there in eternity? Way back yonder. Okay? All right. In space and time, God brought himself into the world, and Jehovah became flesh. John 1:14. And
So
he
can-
walked among them.
So can we look at Shirley and say that's how God looks?
Well, now, God made man in his image.
Yeah.
We don't know what Adam looked like originally with
Okay.
woman and man in him. All right? I taught on Wednesday night, I was teaching Greek, and I taught hypnosis. What is it? That's what I taught about Wednesday night from Greek. Hypnosis, what is it?
Deep sleep.
Huh?
A deep sleep.
It's a deep sleep. God, when he put Adam to sleep in Genesis 2 and 21, I think it is, it said that he hypnotized him. Hypnose. Hypnose. Our word hypnosis comes from that word. That's it. That is the word right there. All of our medical terms come from Greek. The word hypnosis comes from Greek. Every time that God dealt with a man, he hypnotized him. Every dream Isaac had, Jacob had, Joseph had.
No.
Joseph in the New Testament, Joseph in the Old Testament, Abimelech, Pharaoh, they were all hypnotized.
And Abraham, when he passed through.
That's right. God made him fall into a deep sleep, hypnotic trance. Okay? That just give you something to think about since you weren't in class. I taught for quite a while on that. They've been hitting that one very hard. But in the original language, you get a lot of little clues.
Mhm.
A lot of little clues.
That's what's so interesting about it.
All right. And it came to pass from the end of 40 days, opened up Noah the window in the ark. Okay? Let's go over here and do another verse. Vaishalach et ha-o-rev. Okay, that sounds like raven, doesn't it? All right. V'yetzeh Yatzov Vasho Ad Yivoshet Hamayim Mi'al Haaretz. And he sent forth, he pushed out with force. All right? He pushed out with force. This is PL stem. All right? Third person masculine singular, PL stem, while consecutive in person. That raven didn't want to go, so he kept on pushing him out. That's what the idea here is in Hebrew. Hebrew has a lot of action in the verbs. And he kept on pushing him out, the raven. Okay? Ha-arev. The raven. All right? And went out, and he went out, third person masculine singular, cow, while consecutive. He kept on going out. All right? So, kept on going out, cow, infinitive. And returning. He kept on going out and coming back. Going out and coming back. Going out and coming back. Odd until as far as Yahvoshet, the drying up of the water from upon the earth. He kept on going out. He kept on coming back. He didn't land. He didn't stay out there. He just kept on going. Right? Now, 8 verse 8. 8 verse 8. Vaishalach et hayovna mitov lerot hakulu hamayim mi'al penei ha'adamah. All right. And he sent forth with force, again, third person masculine singular, PL, while consecutive. He had to shoo them out. He had to shoo out et, sign of the direct object. Ha-yonah, the dove, all right, the dove, this specific dove, from him, mitov, lerot, to see. All right, to see. Cal, infinitive construct. Ha, kulu. The decrease. The swift decrease. Third person cal, plural, cal, perfect. How that the earth had decreased. All right, swiftly, the waters. From upon the face of the earth. Or the faces of the earth. All right, ha. Panei ha-adamah. Now see that word adamah right there? Ha-adamah, the earth. Adam is what? Adam. Okay, what's blood? Dam. Is man related to the earth? Because he was made from the same elements as the earth. Not literally from the earth, but from the same elements. Man is not made from dirt, but from the same elements as dirt. I know it says in all the translations that man is made from dirt, or from dust. But man is made from the same elements of dust. Man came directly, didn't come from a mud pile, or a dirt pile, or a dust pile, and then God made it. But man came from God, and man was made from the same elements as he made the dust. Okay? That's the syntactic idea. All right? He made him from the same elements as dust. He is a primary creation of God. Man is a primary, not a secondary. If he had made him from dirt or dust, he would be a secondary creation because he created him from something else. The chair, the tables, the walls are made from something else. They're walls now, but they were something before. Now, man was not dust before. Man was made from the same elements, the very same elements as the dust. Therefore, he's related to the dust because he came from the same maker that made the dust. And to become dust. Because he knew that he would fall, he knew that he would die, and that he would become dust. He would go to the dust. Because as from it where you were taken, and so to it you shall become. Become. You shall become. All right. And then, because man is made from the same elements as dust, he's also related to the dirt. So when the Lord came and became like Adam, like dust, as dust, okay? And he walked, Jehovah became flesh and walked among us. He came to, and John 3:16 says, for what? For God so loved the cosmos, not just man, but the whole world, cosmos, the world, that he gave his only begotten Son to redeem it all back to himself. All of it. He's going to redeem all of it. Because not only is he related to man, but he's related to all of the cosmos. Because God became flesh. Now, woman was taken from man before man sinned, didn't he?
Yeah.
Now, it's very beautiful. Even in Greek and in Hebrew, this is what it says. All right? It says that God hypnotized Adam. And he was in a great deep sleep. And he took from his sides, plural, sides plural, is pleron. We got our word pleurisy. Have you ever had pleurisy pain in your side? Okay, pains in your sides. All right. Well, God took from Adam a side, from his sides, and it says that he placed from that side, from those sides, he placed flesh and bone. So a lot of people used to say he took a rib from Adam. Well, he didn't take a rib. He must have taken ribs. It says sides, not really ribs, but from his sides he took flesh and bone and blood. And he formed woman and caused her to wake up and presented her to Adam. Here we have Adam, one single being. God hypnotizes him, pulls out Eve. There's two separate beings now, and then he puts them back together in marriage, and they become one flesh again. That's very beautiful. That's a very beautiful picture. Okay? But now, Eve was taken from Adam before the fall. So she was perfect. Now, in the fall, whose fault was it?
Adam's.
Adam's fault. Because he knowingly sinned. Eve was deceived. All right? She kind of let out in it because she was deceived. But she was not responsible because man was the Rosh. of the human family, the head. He was created first. He's a primary creation of God. And woman is taken from man, so she is a what?
Secondary.
Secondary creation of God.
Hmm.
But now, in the Bible, we always have the rejection of the firstborn. Don't we? All right, we have the rejection of the firstborn always. Adam sinned. So Adam brings upon all mankind the death sentence. We're all infected with this death sentence. And the woman, Genesis 3:15, God tells the serpent and man and woman that this woman is going to be the Savior. Her seed is going to be the Savior of the world. All right, the Redeemer. So the first child they have, they said in Genesis 4:1, look, I have gotten the man at Jehovah, even Jehovah. They thought the Messiah was born. They thought they had Jehovah right here. But what a disappointment. It took 4,000 years for him to come on the scene. There's a whole lot of kids born and died before that. But the Messiah came through the seed of the woman. The seed of the woman. The perfect seed. If a woman could have a child without the need of a man and bring a child into this world without a man, it would be a sinless child. Because Jesus was sinless. That's how come he was sinless. Because he had a mother, but his father was God.
The blood comes from the Father.
And the blood comes from the Father. And his blood was sinless. And his blood was not infected with the disease of sin. Isn't that beautiful?
It is.
It is. You don't. Now, I told you this before. Randy, you've heard this 10 times, or maybe 100. I don't know how many times. But some of you haven't. Okay? Read The Chemistry of Blood by M.R. DeHaan. If you want to read something about this. Read The Chemistry of the Blood by M.R. DeHaan. He'll tell you a lot of this. But I was teaching this, and I've had a lot of doctors in my class over the years. And one of the doctors, Susan Hume, she just sat there and she said, when I said this, man infects the human race with his deadly blood. But I said the Messiah had no deadly blood in him. He did not have the human blood in him. He was divine blood. It was the kind of blood that Adam had in him until it was contaminated. God formed Adam as the dust of the ground and breathed into him the breathings of life. And what in a person's life, where is the life? The blood. The blood does what? It rejuvenates your body. When your blood quits flowing, you die. Your blood feeds every cell in your body. It rejuvenates and repairs my hand. This last week I was so thankful. Without any drugs or chemicals or anything, my hand came back. It's not well, by a long shot, but it's not all swollen up and killing me like it was. But you know what did that? Blood. Blood did it. Blood repaired it. Blood repairs everything. Even in your heart, there are people that have had bypass surgery before they had bypass surgery. Did you know that? Yeah, Brother Rex, you know what I'm talking about. I had a friend, he was a young man. He had a heart that had been bad for years, and the heart grew new veins by itself. It had bypass surgery. You know what I'm talking about, Rex? Yeah. Your body repaired itself.
Compensates for that.
Compensates because the blood vessels were clogging, so it grew some more new ones. Because the blood was repairing itself. Brother Rex.
That happens to younger people. It doesn't happen to the older people.
Yeah, the younger people, usually when you're having heart trouble when you're young, it grows. When you get older and decrepit like us, there's not much else. We're just ready to go up. That'll help us. All right. Was that interesting to you?
Yeah.
All right. And I hope I didn't bore the other ones that heard it before.
No.
All right. Where did we end? 8 and 8? So he sent out a dove. All right. Let's read one more verse.
Why did we switch from a raven to a dove?
Yes, we went from a raven to a dove.
Why?
We went to basically a carnivore to a vegetarian.
Oh.
All right. A raven is a scavenger. A dove eats vegetation. Of course, now, at this time, the raven would become a scavenger, but the dove would not. because they weren't scavengers before. But the raven would become a scavenger. So God sent forth a clean animal. Is a raven a clean animal? No. We can't eat ravens. But a dove is a clean animal. All right. And when the lepers were clean, they would take 2 doves, they would pull one of them's head off, almost all the way off, take its blood, and put it in a basin of water that had to be running water or living water, like from a river. Put it in there, and then he would dip the other one in that, and they would turn him loose. And the leper was cleansed. That was the cleansing for the leper. And that typified our salvation. We're immersed in the blood of Christ, which is the living water. All right. 9. Velo, Matzia, Hai, Hayona, Manabak, Ni, Chef, Ragla, Bafta, Show, Elah, El, Hatava, Ki, Mayim, Al, Panay, Kol, Haaretz, Vayishlach, Yado, Vayikaachi Ha. Well, I mean, that's a little bitty short word that says all that. Okay? And then Vayu, Otah, Elah, El, Hatava. All right. And not, below, and not, she found, or was found, was having been found, the dove, a resting place for the sole of her foot, and she returned unto him, unto the ark, because waters upon the faces of all the earth. And he sent out his hand, all right, Yod, look at that word Yod there, Yodah, his hand, and he took her and brought her unto him into the ark. He put his hand out, and she landed on his hand, and he brought her into the ark. That's a beautiful story. Now, next week, we'll start right there. That's what we're going to start next week.
You're quitting early.
What?
You're quitting
What?
early.
I am.
Okay.
Hold your feet
8 and
hard.
verse 10. 8 and verse 10. 8 and verse. You want verse 10? Okay, well, we'll do one more verse. All right? Is that all right with you? Okay? It's all right with you. It's all right with us. All right. Vayachel, Ord, Shavot, Yamin, Acharim, Vayosef, Shalach, Et, Hayana, Men, Hativah. And he waited still again 7 days. Shabbat, now that's a week. Shabbat is a week. That's a week. That's what you call a week. You know the word we call Sabbath? That's Shabbat right there. Sabbath means a completion. The week, the Sabbath is always from Friday night till Saturday night. That's the Sabbath. It's not Sunday. The Catholic Church changed the Sabbath to Sunday in the Dark Ages. Okay? But the Sabbath is not Sunday. It never has been. It never will be. The end of the week. Sunday is the first day of the week. It's not the end of the week. The Sabbath is a completion of a week. And Friday night to Saturday night is a completion of the last day of the week. Okay? I want to bring that out to you. You know, there's a lot of little things in here. And when you see in the New Testament where it says a week, it means a Sabbath. It's always a week is a Sabbath. So this work week here is Sabbath. All right? And the Shavuot, 7 days. Other. And he continued, he kept on sending. He kept on sending with force, pushing him out, P.L. the dove from the ark. All right, he kept on sending the dove from the ark. Now we'll start in 8:11 next week. All right. 7-Eleven. It's a gambling term or something.
That's the
7-Eleven.
7-Eleven,
All right, 7-Eleven 10. Well, it's a long time. The next verse over here, or actually 11, was 12/13/1977. I wasn't quite going so. 1977. How many years ago was that? When I was teaching it, 33 years ago. Boy, it's a long time ago. I remember doing that. You know, to receive a doctorate of Bible languages, I had to translate one of the larger books of the New Testament, and I had to do the book of Genesis, at least a whole. So I did the book of Revelation, and I had to do Genesis. And so this is what I'm giving to you was what was taught me by my teacher, Travis Hooker. And he was a great Hebrew teacher, better than me, much better than me. I went to him, I'd call him on the phone when he got older, and I had studied a lot of Greek. And I'd ask him something about Greek, and I'd say, Brother Hubbard, what about this in Greek? He said, young man, Brother James, don't you call me about Greek anymore. He said, I don't know what you're talking about. You've gone beyond me. I don't have it. I don't know what you're talking about. It just passed me up. He said, you want to call me by Hebrew, you call me anytime. But don't call me by Greek. He said, you're going to have to study that on your own. He said, I don't know nobody else going to help you. Anyway, so what I'm passing to you here is from him and J. Lewis Guthrie. Now, on my website, there is a book on the front of it by J. Lewis Guthrie called The Creation of the Heavens and the Earth. I would instill in you to read that book. It's fantastic. He was a physicist, and he taught classical Greek in the colleges, and he also taught Koine Greek, and he had taught Hebrew, and he was a great Hebrew teacher. Now, that man was great. And what I'm telling you and how I'm teaching you, if you go read that, The Creation of the Heavens and the Earth, it's going to make more sense, but I'm going to tell you about that book. You're going to be studying it the rest of your life to ever understand it. Now, I have one more book called Christ in Creation by J. Lewis Guthrie. Now, if you really want your head to spin, read that one. It's a little old book about like this. I've got that one. And if you really want your head to spin through that one, but it's Hebrew, he will tell you Hebrew. Now, this one, The Creation of the Heavens and the Earth, was his textbook. It's not perfectly grammatical because he would teach from this. What I had Randy type them up from his own notes. I had J. Lewis Guthrie's notes. So you go read that. Have you read that, Brother John? Mm-hmm. All right, it's fantastic. Well, let's have a word of prayer, and I'm going to turn you loose on the world. Okay, go out and do something eternal this week. You ready? All right. Brother, would you lead us in prayer? You might dismiss us in prayer.
Heavenly Father, we're thankful for this opportunity to study your word. We have the hope of gaining a more thorough understanding and a greater knowledge through this method. We're thankful for teachers such as Brother Jim Phillips, who is willing to devote his time and effort to aid us in this endeavor. As we leave this evening to go our separate ways, we ask your blessing, and we come to you in the name of the Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, brother. Well, we're going to get started right here. We are up in the 8th chapter. We covered quite a bit of ground today.
We're almost finished today.
Yeah, if we keep going fast enough, we can.
And you noted in here that doves would not land on dead carcasses. So were there dead carcasses when they left the ark?
Well, there probably were dead carcasses out there. But now the raven would do that, but he didn't want to land either, would he? Okay, because really his digestive system hadn't been changed yet. But the raven would be a bird, a carrion. You know, he would eat flesh. You know, and you see ravens today, they do that. But now, when they got out of the ark, then God changed the digestive system of all of the animals. Then they became food for each other and food for man. Man was never given animals for food before. Now, some of the Nephilim that we studied about early in the 6th chapter, they were eating animals. And even man. And they were drinking man's blood and animal blood. And that's one of the reasons why I believe that God Wipe that whole bunch out.
Was John the Baptist